Let's talk about ClickHouse. It's a database that was built to do one thing and one thing only: analyze just massive amounts of data at, well, warp speed. And it's not just a little bit faster, it's so fast that it completely changes the game and makes you rethink what's even possible with real-time analytics. So, picture this. You're running a huge online platform. You have to understand what your users are doing right now, not what they did an hour ago. We're talking about billions of clicks, taps, and interactions every single day. So how in the world do you query all of that data and get an answer back in seconds? Well, for the longest time, the simple answer was you couldn't. Your traditional databases, the ones that run most websites and apps, they just weren't built for that kind of heavy-duty analysis. They'd just grind to a halt. This problem needed a completely new kind of engine, built from the ground up. And that's exactly where our story begins. This solution wasn't just cooked up in some research lab. Nope, it was forged in the fire of a very real, very big data problem at one of the biggest tech companies in the world. That company was Yandex, which you can think of as the Google of Russia. And their big challenge was a web analytics platform called Yandex Metrica. Now, we're not talking about millions of events here. We're talking billions of events every single day. The scale is just mind-boggling. See, their challenge wasn't about processing one transaction at a time like an online purchase. It was about asking really complex questions across all of that data, slicing it, dicing it, and pulling out insights. This is a field called online analytical processing, or OLAP. It's kind of like the difference between a cashier ringing up one item and a business analyst studying a million sales to spot a new trend. Yandex needed an OLAP engine that was unlike anything else out there. So back in 2009, ClickHouse was born right inside Yandex, and it became their secret weapon. But the real game changer was in 2016 when they decided to release it as an open source project. Suddenly, developers all over the world could see its power, and it just exploded in popularity, eventually leading to the creation of ClickHouse Inc. in 2021 to support its massive growth. All right, so the big question is, how does it do it? How is it so ridiculously fast? Well, it's not one simple trick. It's a really clever combination of architectural choices. Let's break down the magic that gives ClickHouse its raw power.
Its performance really stands on four key pillars: column-oriented storage, vectorized query execution, really aggressive data compression, and parallel processing. Let's dive into the two that are the biggest game changers.
First up is this idea of column-oriented storage. Now, a normal database is kind of like a spreadsheet. If you want to find the average of just one column, it still has to read through every single row to get that data. A columnar database flips that on its head. It stores all the values for column A together, then all the values for column B together, and so on. So when you only need to analyze one column, you only read that one column's data from the BISC. This one change means you're reading way, way less data, which makes your queries just incredibly fast. The second piece of magic is called vectorized query execution. Now, instead of the CPU handling data one little piece at a time, like carrying your groceries in one can at a time, it grabs big, efficient batches, or vectors, and processes them all at once. It's like using a shopping cart instead of making 100 trips. This just massively cuts down on wasted effort and lets the CPU run at full throttle. The other two pillars just make everything even faster. High compression shrinks the data so there's less to read, and parallel processing uses all the computer's brains to work on a query at the same time. But raw speed is pretty useless if the thing is impossible to use, right? Well, on top of all this incredible performance, ClickHouse speaks standard SQL, which is the language of data. It can pull in data in real time, and it has all the powerful features like materialized views that engineers need to build really sophisticated stuff. So you take that blistering speed, and you combine it with features that developers actually want to use, and what do you get? You get a tool that went from being an internal project to a global open source phenomenon that's having a huge impact. And I'm not kidding about the impact. The list of companies that bet their business on ClickHouse is basically a who's who of the tech world. Cloudflare uses it for network analytics. Uber uses it for logging. Giants like eBay, Spotify, and Alibaba, they all rely on it for dashboards and metrics where speed is everything. And if you look at how they're using it, you see a pattern. It's all about speed. Whether you're powering a dashboard where even a second of lag is too much, or you're trying to drink from a massive fire hose of log data, or analyzing data from millions of IoT devices, these are the jobs where ClickHouse's performance gives you a serious edge.
Okay, but let's be real. It's a crowded field. You've got giants like Amazon and Google with their own powerful analytics tools. So, in a world like that, what gives ClickHouse its edge? Why do so many developers pick it over the others?
Well, it boils down to one absolutely crucial word: open source. See, while tools like BigQuery and Redshift are powerful, they're proprietary. They lock you into their cloud. ClickHouse gives you freedom. Freedom from being stuck with one vendor, total control over how you run it, and access to a massive community that is obsessed with one thing: pure, raw performance.
And I think this quote just absolutely nails it. It's a modern engine that's blazingly fast and easy to scale. But that last part is the key. Loved by developers. People don't just use it because they have to, they use it because they genuinely love how powerful and flexible it is. It just works, and it works incredibly well.
Which kind of brings us to our final thought. Every single day, we're creating more data than the day before. We are literally drowning in information. So in a world like that, isn't the ability to analyze that data at the speed of thought, to ask any question and get an answer instantly, isn't that the ultimate competitive advantage? ClickHouse makes a pretty convincing case that, yeah, it just might be.